Breakfast on your balcony with an ocean view.
No cooking.
No cleaning.
Days by the pool.
Delicious dinners every night.
What's not to like?
For the rest of your life. Welcome to the Sonic Boomers channel. I'm Pete.
And I'm Maureen.
And on this edition of the Sonic Boomers, we're asking the question, would you want to retire to spending the rest of your life living on board a cruise ship?
Well, would you?
You know, I'm on the fence.
Okay, tell me about it.
I'm on the fence because, you know, I love cruising. Mm-hmm. We both love cruising.
Yes.
And yeah, there is so much to be said for no cooking, no cleaning, have a beautiful view, relaxing, no stress. There is so much good to be said for it. The other part is you lose contact with your family. You lose contact with friends and neighbors. You don't have any permanent neighbors. You might have a situation where it's always in flux. People are always coming and going. There's nothing better than a beautiful day at sea, and there is probably nothing worse than a bad day at sea. Mm. By that I mean storms. The ship losing propulsion in the middle of the ocean and the toilets backing up. You know, there's the famous Carnival poop cruise.
Right, right.
So that's sort of like the downside of it. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Surprisingly, I would not want to. As much as I adore cruising,
Yeah.
and I can't think of a better way to spend my vacation, long term, I don't think it's for me.
You're not even on the fence about it?
No.
Okay.
No. There's too much I would be giving up. I'd be giving up my family. I'd be giving up my friends. You're trading a 3-bedroom house to live in a 1-room setting. I wouldn't have my guitar. I wouldn't have my hobbies.
Well, you could bring your guitar with you.
You wouldn't, though. You're living in a 1-room, couple hundred square feet. You'd be disturbing other people, and carrying it with you with all your baggage and everything. No, I just don't see myself doing it. Now, would I take a longer cruise than we have? Absolutely. And if I had a chance to spend maybe a month at sea, yeah. But retire permanently, not me.
Think of all the trivia games we could play.
We would know all the answers by then.
That's true. If you're on board long enough, you know the answers.
The question is, aside from would you, could you do it? Say if money were no object, or if money is an object, could you what are your options to actually do this if this is something you want to do?
And there's a few.
There are a few. One option is there's a ship called the Odyssey. It's on the Villa V cruise line. This particular ship circumnavigates the globe about every 3.5 years, and it visits 50, 60 ports in that time. And you would be able to join this ship at any point on this 3.5-year journey.
Now you can rent or buy, is that it?
You can rent or buy.
Okay.
Now, if you rent it, your fee is about $3,499 a month. And everything's included. Your food, your utilities, internet, housekeeping, all that. Mm-hmm. There's no extra charge.
Which for somebody living, say, in Manhattan, that's probably a bargain.
Even in a lot of places, I mean, a 1-bedroom apartment anymore, it's hard to find for under $2,000.
Yeah.
And if you have something a little bit grander, you're going to be paying in that same ballpark figure of $3,000 a month. So it may not be as bad as you think it is. You can also purchase your cabin, and they offer different options for that. Now, if you want, for a lot less money, you can say, I'm going to purchase this cabin and own it for 5 years. And for that, you pay maybe about $59,000. Or, beyond door number 2, you could also then buy your cabin for lifetime. and that would cost you about $439,000.
I think for somebody, say, in our bracket, in our early 70s, you'd probably be looking at the 5-year. I mean, actuarial tables being what they are.
Yeah, probably. Now, the catch with this one is, by owning it, if you do the short-term ownership agreement, it's costs you the money up front, and then you're paying a management fee of about $2,000 a month for food and utilities. Once you pay your down payment, it's about $349,000. Once you pay that, it's like paying off your mortgage, but you still have your utilities and your other expenses to pay. So it would be costing you out of pocket about $2,000 a month
for food and utilities.
For food, utilities, your crew, fuel charges, taxes for the ports, miscellaneous things that are covered. The other option you have is to do a lifetime, and you buy it for $549,000, one-time fee, and it includes all the extras. There is no maintenance fee.
So if you're on the younger end of the spectrum, this is a pretty good deal. If you're in your 30s, 40s, and you've got that kind of money to put down.
If you got that kind of
You're
money.
in your 70s, it makes no sense at all.
Well, depends on how you're doing. How you doing?
Well, as they say, at our age, you're doing great until you're not.
That would be the Villa V Odyssey. That's kind of like the middle of the road choice for you, for most people. Now, if you're a little bit more well-heeled, or a lot more well-heeled, there's the World Luxury Residential Ship at Sea. What this is a deluxe, super high-end luxury yacht experience in which you are buying your cabin. And in most cases, it's not just a cabin. It's like a suite. You get a bedroom. You get maybe a sitting area. You get a balcony, maybe even a kitchenette, deluxe, everything. But it's going to cost you...
Well, how much could it be?
$2 to $15 million.
Is that all? Book it. Get him on the phone.
With an additional fee, it's not enough to shell out a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
$113,000 to $1 million a year on top of that, which is the equivalent of the maintenance fee. It covers your fuel, onboard staff, food, maintenance, blah, blah, blah.
Well, look, if you can afford to plunk down $2 to $15 million, the additional $113K, you've got it. That's not the problem.
I guess so, but
as you like to say, that's the cost of doing business.
I guess so. To scrape up $2 million, you'd think you were doing something, and then to have to come up with $113,000 every year for the time that you're living on there, that's kind of a lot. And don't forget, while you're living there, you're not working, you're not earning money. So you must have to have a hell of a nest egg to be able to draw $113,000 a year out of it to give away to the cruise line. On that yacht, one of the beauties of it is it's small-ish.
Well, how many people are on board with you?
There's 165 residences, and these people are all long-term, just like you are.
Right, long-term, well-heeled individuals.
It's kind of like moving into a neighborhood in a sense, because these people are constants. It's not like the other cruise line option, which may have people coming in and out of your life. These people pretty much stay put. I mean, yeah, there are going to be people that maybe after a while they sell their share or they sell their cabin. But for the most part, it's a pretty steady neighborhood type of feel. The nice thing is that amongst the residents, they meet and decide where they're going and where the itineraries are and what ports they want to visit and for how long. They're not being dictated to like you would be on the Villa V.
That could be good and it could be bad. If you've ever been at a homeowners association meeting, you know that these things can get they can go off the rails. Mm-hmm. You get the people that want to be the big fish in the small pond.
Yeah.
And you get cliques forming. And these are the in people, these are the out people.
Yeah, yeah. I can see that totally happening.
Yeah. But, what if somebody says, I'm sorry, we're going to Staten Island, whether you want to or not. I'm not voting until we go to Staten Island.
And I'm sure that's going to happen.
You know something like that is going to happen.
Yeah, I've already been to Santorini.
Yes. I'm so bored with it. I was so bored with Naples. I just can't do it one more time.
Yeah. So, all of these things have pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
And later on, we're going to talk about should you decide. But for now, this is what the could-yous are.
And you have to have a net worth, right, of
$10 million net worth to get on board this world luxury
just missed
thing.
It.
Now,
we just missed it.
Occasionally, they do offer people that own one of these cabins might offer it up for a short term. Maybe they're not going to be on board for a while, and they might say, well, you know what? You pay me X amount and you can have my cabin for a month. And you might get in the back door that way, but that's very rare. As living at sea becomes more popular, there's probably going to be more and more options available, especially in that Villa V kind of category. Now, I know one coming up, I believe it's not launching until 2028. And it's called, I think, Story Time at Sea or something like that. And that one is kind of, I got my eyeball on it, not that I would do it, but just as an interesting point. They are offering minimal 2-bedroom units, and they are making allowances for you to have family members come and stay with you. You can treat the grandkids to a cruise. You can have your family come and visit you for not a long term, but they can come on board and sail one of the legs of the journey with you as a cruise and then get off and fly back home or whatever. So that one, it's kind of interesting. I haven't heard any prices on it, but they are, from what I can tell, they are trying to be kind of competitive with the Villa V prices.
Villa V, I remember when they were launching that, it got a lot of publicity.
Right.
And they had a few problems at the beginning.
Yeah, it took a while for them to launch because they kept changing the start date. But once they got underway, as far as I understand, it's been
going pretty smoothly.
Pretty positive experience. And what people might be doing as far as these different options are, they might decide to treat it like a second home, like somebody has a house down the shore around here, or they buy a place out in the Poconos, and they might decide to treat this cabin as a second home and maintain a traditional house on land as well, and use it just for whenever they want to get away. So these are kind of things that they haven't gelled yet because this is a fairly new option. And going down the road, these are some things that may come to play that may change the landscaping a little bit.
Option number 3.
This would be booking longer cruises and back-to-back cruises on conventional cruise lines. It would require you to do a lot of research, a lot of moving, packing, and unpacking, but you can live on board for a long or short duration.
But isn't that a lot of money? Because figure when we take a cruise, what do we usually ballpark figure spend on a cruise?
About $3,000.
Okay, that's what I'm figuring. So if you are like doing cruises back to back, you're doing 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, and maybe the cruise is only a week, and you want to do this year round maybe. You're talking about a hell of a lot of money.
There are ways around it. What you have to realize is all the things that you normally get on a cruise are yours this way. All the normal amenities you get on this, just like you would booking a cruise, on any cruise. You've got all your meals, you've got your housekeeping, you've got your entertainment, you've got all that included. What's not included are the same things that you would not be included if you and I just take a cruise. You don't get your Wi-Fi, you don't get your drink packages, you don't get specialty dining, you don't get excursions without an extra fee.
Yeah.
Now you can opt for the extra fee.
Although
and
I think you and I are both agreed, two of the biggest expenses and most unnecessary expenses on a cruise is the drink package and the elevated dining.
I think so. But we're talking, we go for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are people that are going to be out at sea for
months, maybe years.
Whatever. You're going to want your Wi-Fi. You're going to want some of the extras. Now, the thing is, a savvy traveler has ways around this. So you don't have to pay the full pop every single time. There's always deals out there. If you look on all the different cruise sites, that's why I said it takes a lot of researching and maybe having a travel agent in your back pocket as your best friend. But you can take advantage of the deals. They often offer 70% off the second passenger and onboard credit.
And of course, if you're a big casino player,
well, that's the other thing. Casino players,
you can get comped, right?
You can get comped, and apparently, it's not as expensive as you don't have to spend thousands of dollars in the casino. There are people that say that they spend a kind of a nominal amount, and they've gotten comped. I'm not a casino person. I don't understand exactly all the ins and outs of it, but it can be done, and you get the free cruises or deep discounts on your cruise cabin, or perhaps they offer you amenities, or they offer you onboard credit, or they offer you a free dinner or a free excursion. That all these things can reduce the amount out of your pocket.
So initially, if you are well-heeled, this looks very doable. It looks very attractive. If you're a little bit older, this is the part of the show that we're calling the should you part of our show today. Should you, even if you can do it, even if you have the money, if you have the time, should you do it?
And that's an interesting question. Of course, you have to, first of all, look at the costs and see if it's in your budget. And I mean all the costs. If you want to add on to anything, what's not included, what is included, maintenance fee, no maintenance fee, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You have to consider. Also, you have to consider what happens to your current home. Are you selling it? Are you renting it out? What's the expenses there?
What happens if you make a long-term investment in this and you die? Or you become ill and you can't continue, and now you've made this incredible investment into this. How does that work out?
I guess if you have purchased it, it's the same as having purchased a home. You could leave it to your children or your dependents next.
Or you could sell it, I suppose.
Well, if you're dead, you're not selling anything.
Well, your estate could sell it.
Yeah, you could leave it to your estate, and they would dispose of it. However, they would dispose of any of your property.
So let's assume that we checked off the first box.
Okay, it's in our budget.
It's in the budget.
So then the other thing you want to look at is the amenities. The ships are very different. Some ships are smallish, and you're basically getting your cabin, your meals, you're getting beautiful views, you're getting that laid-back lifestyle. But they may not have entertainment. They may not have shows for you to attend. Yeah. They may not have musicians on board.
And how often do the shows change?
Well,
right?
that too.
Some shows on cruise ships run for years. We've been on cruises where we've seen the same show at least twice, maybe 3 times.
Mm-hmm. Also, you might want to check the policies regarding guests. Like I said, this one that's coming up is definitely making provisions for you to have guests on board. That may not be the case in some of these other ones.
Right.
They may not be welcome. And so
might be like the HOA saying, no, your grandchildren cannot come to visit you.
And they cannot stay in the pool.
No, they cannot go to the pool.
Yeah, we're not taking on that liability. So that's one of those things that it's part of what your decision-making process needs to be.
And I hate to keep bringing it up, but this show is called The Sonic Boomers. And if you're a more senior cruiser, you really have to consider your health and your medical needs. We of a certain age, we are more likely to be on that end of the spectrum. What are the medical facilities on board the ship? You know, most of your cruise ship medical facilities, they're just kind of like a slightly elevated first aid station. There's no surgical suite there.
Exactly. I mean, they
There's
probably
no
have
trauma center
They
there.
probably have a defibrillator, and they probably have, some medicines on board and things like that. But yeah, you're not going to get deluxe treatment. And the other thing to consider is you're going all around the globe, and some of these places are not, they're like third world countries. They're not places that have the most up-to-date medical facilities.
Right.
So even if they evacuate you, they're going to evacuate you to the nearest land-based hospital. Any place that is not up to our American standards.
Yeah.
You're
Probably
putting
not
your
going
life
to go
at
too
risk.
well for you.
You're putting your life at risk. And all of these things, they may not be covered by your insurance. Now, if you take out cruise insurance, that's a whole different matter. But a lot of people say, well, I've got medical insurance, I've got Medicare, I've got this and that.
Doesn't work on a cruise ship.
It may not work. You might find being out at sea for that long boring after a while.
I can't imagine that. But again, you and I are not, I mean, we've done maybe 15, 18 cruises now, and we never get bored with it. But we only do maybe one cruise a year. As much as I love cruising, after about 5-6 days, as they said in Tennessee Williams, we've about done Cabeza de Lobo.
Yeah. So
Shout out to Suddenly last summer.
So the entertainment, like we said before, it may not change for a while. So if you're doing those back-to-back cruises, you might be hitting the same show over and over and over again.
I can only see those damn jugglers so many times, and then I'm done.
Your family may not be able to visit you or your friends, and don't forget, you're going to be in a very much downsized accommodation. Even if you get a suite, you're talking maybe 2 rooms as opposed to living in a house. People often say, oh, we're going to downsize when we retire. And then the reality hits them when they do downsize. They're very unhappy being in such small quarters, giving up so much storage space, so much room to move around. And that's people that are maybe going from a 3-4 bedroom house to a 2-bedroom 55 plus unit or something. This is going from that down to 1 room. Not 1 bedroom, 1 room.
For a very long period of time.
For very long. So you may find that you're not as happy with it as you thought you were going to be. Now, if you are able-bodied and if you enjoy adventure, this may be the wonderful lifestyle that you will enjoy forever and have a great time. But if you're not, this may not be all it's cracked up to be for you.
Would you? Could you? Should you? Well, we've given you the options, and now it's up to you. Hey, if you found our podcast, our YouTube, informative, entertaining, enjoyable in any way at all, we'd appreciate it if you would now take a moment to give us a like and subscribe. And we just want to explain very quickly, because we've been on a drive to get our subscriptions up, and it's going very nicely. Thank you to all of you who are new subscribers. But a lot of people think that just because they watched our show on YouTube, that they are automatically subscribed. You're not. You have to push. At the end of the show, you'll see a little circle at the bottom of the screen. If you click on that, it will subscribe you automatically.
And it's not a pain. It doesn't cost you anything. And it sure helps out our channel a whole lot. And we don't get paid for this. we've said this before.
No,
we're doing this just for the love of it.
We have lost money on this because we buy all of the equipment. We bear all of the expenses. We sell no advertising.
But we do it because we enjoy it, and we hope we're being entertaining and informational to you, our listeners.
And remember, when you subscribe and you watch our show a lot, you're helping to keep two old people off the street. Until next week when we unwrap another episode of the Sonic Boomers, I'm Pete.
And I'm Maureen.
Goodbye, God bless you, thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. Good?
Yeah, I think so.